for me, my story is we are still together, but my story is a crazy one. We have battled so much together. We have battled each other so much over the years. Um, but God has kept us together. And I put that 100% on God. God is the one that said to me to stay with my wife. And that is something that I cannot say no to. And we're here. We're working through things. I don't really know where to start because it's a long story, man. But
Yeah.
I guess I'll just try to get the basics of it all. And by the way, I have talked to my wife about this. She knows I'm going to be sharing stuff.
You have the permission.
Yeah, exactly. So there's, I'm pretty much an open book here, and so is she. So I guess I'll start right off the bat by saying, like, when we got together, I was a teenager. So was she, obviously. And I wasn't into good things at all. I was partying all the time, sleeping with all sorts of people all the time, different girl like every other day. You know what I mean? It was not a great time for me. I was doing drugs and all sorts of stuff. But when I had met her, we basically met by having a sexual interaction. So by God's standards, that's not the way you're supposed to meet your wife. You know what I mean? It's not your typical way. Now, having said that, though, she kind of stole me away from my girlfriend at the time. But my girlfriend at the time was a mess as well. And then I don't know, we were like glue. We just couldn't seem to break away. It's not like we were trying to break away, but we just kept coming to each other. We weren't dating or anything. We just were. There was just that attraction. Something was bringing us together. But like I said, I was not a great person back then. And then when we did start dating, I cheated a lot, all the way up to the marriage, and then into our marriage. Once we got married, it definitely died down, and it was just like stupid things here and there. She stuck with me every time, but then I messed up real bad, and I ended up messing around with, let's just say, somebody very close to her. I can't give any names on that,
Sure,
but
sure.
or I can't give the exact relationship to her, but I
Right.
will just say it was a family member of hers.
Yeah.
So that cut real deep for her, obviously. It happened, she stayed with me. And then honestly, it happened more than once, and then with that same person, and for whatever reason she stayed with me, and I believe that it was God that kept her with me. There was a breaking point on my end where I felt so terrible about myself and what I was doing to her, and I just let everything off my chest to her and told her, like, just things she already knew, but like also things that she didn't know, and just came clean and tried to change my ways. And I thought we were good. I thought we were good for a few years. And, throughout those years, she had mentioned, like she wasn't happy and she was dealing with this and she wanted, different things for me. And I thought I was doing enough. She wanted, one of the things that she wanted me to lead our family in Christ, and I wasn't doing that. So I started to take those steps, but I guess in her eyes, she didn't see it, or whatever. But I think ultimately my sin against her and against our marriage just festered in her for a long time until she ended up having a breaking point where she started messing up. That was a couple of years ago. So that when I stopped, there was a gap, a few years where I thought everything was good. I'm texting her at night saying all these sweet things to each other, and I thought everything was gravy. And I'm listening to Christian podcasts while I'm working overnight, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm getting my life on track and I'm getting closer to God, and I'm doing all the right things, and my wife is happy with me. And uh I fell so deeply in love with my wife during this time, and ultimately I think because of the unconditional love that she showed me by staying with me through all that, and continuing to love me, like show me that she loved me through it, which I just, it's unbelievable to even think about it now that she stuck with me for all that. For somebody to sit there and still love me after all that, I just was amazed by it. And then I just fell so deeply in love with her. And I was doing all the right things, at least I thought I was. Then one day I could tell something was off. Long story short, I found out she had started sleeping with somebody at work. It was somebody that we both worked with. So I worked overnights and she was working during the day at the same place. It just, everything fell apart after that. For about 2 years, she was seeing this guy. You know, there was times where I wanted to give up. I wanted to do that. Like every emotion you could think of, I've been through it. I was on my knees crying out to God, begging him to leave, asking him. I asked him, I said, you know, like, please tell me it's okay for me to leave. Tell me it's okay. Tell me I'm allowed to do that. And he said, like, I could hear him. This is the closest to God I've ever felt in my life because I was praying to him about this every single night, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like I could almost audibly hear him say, yes, you can. You have every right. I say in my word that this is justified. Sexual immorality justifies it. And I'm like, okay, well, then tell me that you want me to do that. And every single time I would ask him, he would say no. And I'm like, I would just, please, Lord, say it's okay. Say you want me to leave. Every time, no. Like clear as day. I couldn't deny what I was hearing. So I did. We've been battling smaller issues since then, that have stemmed from it. But ultimately, we are now on the right track, I believe, as a couple. For me, staying with my wife was the course for me.
And first off, I want to say, brother, I honor you and I appreciate you for sharing that. You know,
Yeah,
I know that
absolutely.
was so much for you. I can see it all over you.
Yeah.
The passion is steaming off of you, man. And I really
Yep.
appreciate you for sharing that. And I want to say congratulations
Thank
on
you.
what you are experiencing now with her.